Every year, there's always that one team that should be successful and reach the heavens, only to plummet down to earth and start eating mud. For NFL fans, there is really nothing as shocking as seeing a preseason Super Bowl favorite completely unravel once the regular season rolls around. But it always seems to happen to at least one team. With that, here's a look back at the NFL's most disappointing team every year since 2000. 2000, Washington. Washington closed out the previous millennium with a promising 10-win season that saw them advance to the divisional round, where they fell to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. After landing future Hall of Famers Bruce Smith and Deion Sanders, plus Pro Bowl safety Mark Carrier, Washington entered the 2000 season as one of the big Super Bowl 35 favorites. Norv Turner's squad lived up to the hype early as they jumped out to a 6-2 record. But Washington then went on to lose 6 of their final 8 games to finish a mere 8-8. 2001, Tennessee Titans. The Titans were coming off back-to-back 13-win campaigns, and of course, they were just 2 seasons removed from a trip to Super Bowl 34, where they lost a heartbreaker to the St. Louis Rams. The Titans brought back the same core and were widely expected to contend for the Super Bowl, but Jeff Fisher and company started out 0-3 and never really recovered. The club never had a single 3-game winning streak. They got to 7-7 in Week 15 before dropping their final 2 contests to finish 7-9. 2002, St. Louis Rams. The 0-1 Rams were upset by the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 36. The ensuing 0-2 campaign was supposed to be the year of redemption, but the season turned out to be a giant letdown. Reigning MVP Kurt Warner was sloppy early on, as the Rams lost their first 4 games. Then he suffered a broken finger in Week 4 against the Dallas Cowboys. Mark Bulger replaced Warner and helped the Rams move to 5-5 with 6 games to go. But Warner returned late in the season and clearly was not his usual self. The Rams dropped 4 of their final 6 games to finish with a 7-9 record. 2003. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs were coming off their first ever Super Bowl season. Of course, the expectations were high in 03. The lights-out defense that guided Tampa to a Super Bowl 37 victory remained dominant. But the Bucs blew several close games uncharacteristically. Most notably, there was that Monday night debacle against the Indianapolis Colts, where Peyton Manning somehow erased a 21-point deficit with just 4 minutes to go. The offense was also a hot mess all season, led by Brad Johnson's 21 picks. Tampa's struggles on offense prevented any hopes of a repeat. They finished 7-9 to miss the postseason. 2004, Kansas City Chiefs. Powered by the NFL's #1 scoring offense, KC claimed the #2 seed in the AFC with a 13-3 record in 2003, only to lose to Indianapolis in the divisional round. KC's offense didn't miss a beat in 2004. Led by Trent Green, Tony Gonzalez, Priest Holmes, and a star-studded O-line, the Chiefs averaged 30.2 points per game, second most in the league. The only problem? They also allowed a lot of points, 27.2 per game to be exact, which was the 4th most in the NFL. And that, folks, is why the Chiefs finished 7-9 on the year. 2005, Philadelphia Eagles. Injuries to Donovan McNabb and Brian Westbrook, coupled with the ugly Terrell Owens contract situation, made 2005 a whimper in Philly. This team was supposed to avenge their tough Super Bowl 39 loss to the New England Patriots, but they never had a chance. Mike McMahon failed to replace McNabb, losing 5-7 starts as Philly finished with a 6-10 record. This marked their first losing season and non-playoff season since 1999. 2006, Denver Broncos. Well, the reigning AFC runner-ups looked like a Super Bowl contender for at least half the season. Mike Shanahan and company stood at 5-1 and later 7-2. This included wins against the Chiefs, Patriots, Ravens, and Steelers, 4 of the AFC's top clubs. But Denver's season came crashing down with a 4-game losing skid from weeks 11 to 14. Victories in week 15 and 16 gave them life, but the Broncos were stunned at home by the San Francisco 49ers in a must-win regular season finale. They were thus forced to watch the postseason from home. 2007, Chicago Bears. The '06 Bears were carried by Devin Hester and a defensive juggernaut, all the way to Super Bowl 41, where they fell to the Indianapolis Colts. But the lackluster QB play finally caught up to them in 2007. Lovie Smith used 3 starters: Brian Griese, Rex Grossman, and Kyle Orton. Chicago's QBs combined for 17 touchdowns against 21 picks. The defense also regressed notably, and the defending NFC champions went from 13-3 to 7-9 in the matter of 1 year. 2008, Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys won the NFC's top seed in 2007 with a 13-3 record. Expectations were already high entering 2008, and a mid-season trade for Detroit Lions star wideout Roy Williams only increased Dallas's hope of bringing a Lombardi trophy back to town. Dallas won 4 of their first 5 games, but the season went downward after Romo suffered a broken pinky in Week 6. They lost 2 of 3 games without Romo, but when he returned, the star-powered Cowboys reeled off 3 straight W's. However, Dallas dropped 3 of their final 4 games, including a Week 17 win-or-go-home game against the rival Eagles. 2009, Tennessee Titans. Veteran quarterback Kerry Collins had a resurgent year and led the Titans to an NFL best 13-3 record in 2008. Unfortunately, the dream season ended with a loss to the Baltimore Ravens in the divisional round. The Titans lost that magic and slumped to an awful 0-6 start in 2009. They showed some life by reeling off 5 straight W's and by winning 3 of their final 4, but the Titans' 8-8 finish wasn't enough as the Ravens and New York Jets claimed the 2 wildcard spots with 9-7 records. 2010, San Diego Chargers. After another sad playoff elimination in 2009, many just felt as though it was finally San Diego's year in 2010. But we forgot it's the Chargers, the NFL's king of underachieving. In 2010, they finished with both the #1 offense and #1 defense. But of course, the Chargers committed several painful late-game blunders and fielded one of the absolute worst special teams units ever. After a brutal 2-5 start, the Chargers rallied with 4 straight W's. But they fell back to earth with 2 losses in their next 4 games. They salvaged a 9-win season, but missed it on the playoffs for the first time since 2005. 2011, Philadelphia Eagles. Michael Vick had a resurgent year in 2010 and helped Philly to the NFC East Division title. In the offseason, they added superstar cornerback Nnamdi Asomugha and further bolstered the front 7 by adding Jason Babin and Cullen Jenkins. Vince Young was signed on as insurance, and he memorably called the 2011 Eagles a dream team. Well, Asomugha regressed entirely in a new system. Vick was hampered by injuries and missed 3 games, and when he was healthy, he struggled to protect the ball. Philly actually finished with the #8 scoring offense and #10 scoring defense, but the bounces just didn't go their way. It took a 4-game winning streak just for them to close out the year with a .500 record. 2012, New Orleans Saints. The Saints were hit hard by the Bountygate scandal. Several coaches and players were punished. Most notably, Sean Payton was suspended the entire year. The Saints, coming off a 13-win season and 3rd straight playoff appearance, couldn't get anything going. They dropped their first 4 games, and their downright atrocious defense wound up allowing a single-season record 7,042 yards against. The Saints eventually clawed back to .500, but lost 4 of their final 6 games to finish 7-9. 2013, Houston Texans. Houston went 12-4 in 2012 and reached the divisional round for the 2nd consecutive year. They started out 2-0 the following season in 2013 and looked every bit like a championship contender. Then, Matt Schaub imploded, and the Texans' championship-caliber defense took a noticeable step back. Houston somehow, in some way, managed to lose their final 14 games. That was enough to earn the first overall pick the following season, which they used on Jadeveon Clowney. The Texans proceeded to record 3 consecutive 9-win seasons, which led to 2 division titles. 2014, San Francisco 49ers. After 3 straight NFC Championship game appearances, who was to think that the 49ers would suddenly unravel in 2014? Behind the scenes, Jim Harbaugh and GM Trent Balk engaged in a power struggle. Harbaugh lost the locker room, the 49ers dealt with injuries to core players, and ultimately, it just became too much to overcome. Following a 7-4 start, San Fran dropped 4 games in a row and only salvaged a .500 record when they beat the Arizona Cardinals in a meaningless Week 17 game. 2015, Indianapolis Colts. After 3 consecutive 11-win seasons, including a trip to the 2014 AFC Championship game, it felt like it was finally the Colts' time. This already explosive offense added Andre Johnson, Frank Gore, and promising rookie Philip Dorsett. The Colts, not the eventual champion Broncos, were regarded as the Patriots' main threat in 2015. But the offensive line was terrible. Luck took an insane amount of hits. He played just 7 games before unfortunately suffering a season-ending lacerated kidney. The defense regressed mightily and finished 25th in scoring. The Colts finished 8-8 and missed the postseason for the first time in the Luck era. Just a giant letdown of a year all around. 2016 Carolina Panthers. Not much explanation needed. Led by MVP Cam Newton, the 2015 Panthers went 15-1 en route to a Super Bowl 50 appearance, where they ultimately fell to the Denver Broncos. Newton struggled big time the following season though. Playing behind a terrible offensive line, he was forced to miss 2 games. Carolina's usually stingy defense regressed following the departure of star cornerback Josh Norman. They went from 6th to 26th in scoring defense. The Panthers finished 6-10, last in the NFC South. 2017 Oakland Raiders. The 2016 Raiders won 12 games and could have totally won the Super Bowl if Derek Carr didn't suffer a season-ending fractured fibula in Week 16. At any rate, this was supposedly a team with an ultra-bright future. They were heavily favored to win their division and were widely viewed as the Patriots' biggest challengers in the AFC. But the Raiders inexplicably lost their mojo from the previous season. Carr failed to build off an MVP-caliber campaign. Amari Cooper also regressed, and Khalil Mack could only do so much. Oakland finished 6-10 on the year. That prompted Mark Davis to fire Jack Del Rio and replace him with old friend John Gruden, who proceeded to trade both Cooper and Mack in 2018. 2018 Pittsburgh Steelers. The 2016 Steelers went to the AFC Championship game. The 2017 Steelers went 13-3, tied for the best record in the NFL. So of course the 2018 squad was a trendy pick to play for Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta. Even without superstar running back Le'Veon Bell, who sat out the entire season because of a contract dispute. After a sluggish 1-2-1 start, Pittsburgh rebounded with 6 straight W's. They were in the running for the AFC's top seed. But the Steelers dropped 3 straight contests thanks to uncharacteristic mistakes and late-game meltdowns. Antonio Brown clashed with Roethlisberger and the coaching staff, eventually leading to him walking out before the team's Week 17 game. Pittsburgh finished 9-6-1, but it wasn't enough. The Steelers missed the postseason altogether for the first time in 5 years. It was a promising season that ended abruptly, when the Killer Bees era officially concluded on a sour note. 2019 Cleveland Browns. Rookie quarterback Baker Mayfield led Cleveland to a 7-8-1 season in 2018, which was massive progress considering they went 0-16 the year before. In the 2019 offseason, the Browns acquired superstar receiver Odell Beckham Jr. in a trade with the New York Giants. They also brought in veterans Sheldon Richardson, Kareem Hunt, Olivier Vernon, and Wyatt Teller. Cleveland entered 2019 as a favorite in the AFC, but everything fell apart early and often. Mayfield endured a sophomore slump while playing behind a horrible offensive line. Beckham underperformed in year 1 with the Browns. Head coach Freddie Kitchens was underqualified for his position. The defense also greatly underachieved. It all added up to a disappointing 6-10 season, which prompted the Browns to part ways with Kitchens and GM John Dorsey. Of course, Cleveland rebounded in 2020 with an 11-win season and a trip to the divisional round. 2020 Houston Texans. The Cowboys and 49ers could have made this list, but those 2 teams were hit by injuries to core players. These Texans were healthy and should not have gone from 10-6 and a divisional round berth to 4-12. It was a massive downward spiral to say the least. Houston was coming off back-to-back AFC South Division winning seasons. Yeah, the DeAndre Hopkins trade was a mistake and all, but they still had Deshaun Watson and most of the core in place to compete for a playoff spot. Nobody could have expected that 2020 would be such a disaster. Bill O'Brien was fired following a 0-4 start after reportedly clashing with key players. Deshaun Watson pieced together an MVP-like season, but got fed up with the organization and requested a trade. 2021 Pittsburgh Steelers. For a bonus entry, we thought we'd predict the biggest disappointment for the 2021 season. The Steelers won the AFC North in 2020 with a 12-4 record, but an aging Ben Roethlisberger, new look O-line, and rapidly improving AFC North leads us to believe that 2021 will be a not-so-spectacular year in Steel Town. Pittsburgh's fierce defense and strong set of offensive weapons could get them 8 or 9 wins. Or, who knows, maybe this team flops to the bottom of the AFC North. But which NFL team do you think was the biggest disappointment between 2000 and 2020? Join us in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.